ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. I hope you had a nice weekend. I certainly did. Busy, action-packed, fun-filled, but got to spend a lot of time with family and friends, which is always terrific. Well, many of you may have heard about this latest NYPD scandal, and there's a lot to unpack about this unfolding story, and frankly, it's not a good look for the department. Lieutenant Quatisha Epps, the NYPD's top earner last year, raked in over $400,000, nearly half of that from overtime in an administrative role. And now, after the Daily News, as well as other media outlets, shone a spotlight on her eye-popping earnings, Epps has filed for early retirement just shy of her 20-year mark. She'll take a reduced pension, but her situation raises serious questions about accountability and the culture within the NYPD. Let's start with the facts. Epps claimed to have worked more than 1,600 hours of overtime while assigned to the Chief of Department Jeffrey Maddrey's office, in an administrative position, no less. It's not as if she's out there hitting the streets. Following the report, her earnings and her role came under review. Now Epps is suspended and the department is cracking down on administrative overtime. But here's where the story gets murkier. Epps has made explosive allegations against Maddrey, claiming he sexually harassed her and coerced her into a relationship in exchange for job perks and overtime opportunities. Maddrey has denied these allegations, but they come at a time when the NYPD's credibility is already under fire. Maddrey, a close ally of Mayor Eric Adams, has now resigned. The allegations, if true, paint a disturbing picture of power abused at the highest level. My take? There's simply no excuse for this. Whether it's the alleged exploitation of overtime or the shocking claims made against Maddrey, or both, it all points to a systemic issue within the NYPD. How did we get to a place where administrative overtime is being gamed like this? What happened to accountability? And more importantly, what's being done to fix it? I'll tell you this. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch is showing that she's not afraid to clean house. She's putting an end to 500 transfers, cracking down on overtime, even removing high-ranking officials like the Internal Affairs Bureau Chief and the head of DCPI. It seems like she's the commissioner the NYPD has needed for years, someone willing to take the hard steps to restore integrity to the department. But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture here. This isn't just about one lieutenant or one chief. It's about rebuilding trust in an institution that millions of New Yorkers rely upon every day. And that starts with accountability at every level, from patrol officers to the highest ranks at one police plaza. We'll see what happens.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Imagine you're considering running for office in New Jersey. You've got a vision for your community, a solid platform, and the drive to make a difference. What stands between you and the ballot? Signatures. a petition. Historically, New Jersey has required 800 signatures to get on the general election ballot for statewide office and 100 for the U.S. House. For primary elections, statewide candidates need 1,000 signatures, with U.S. House candidates needing 200. But now the state legislature is considering bills SB 3994 and AB 5117 that would significantly increase these requirements. If these bills pass, general election petitions for statewide office will jump from 800 to 2,000 signatures. U.S. House candidates will see their threshold rise from 100 to 250. For primaries, the statewide requirement will leap from 1,000 to 2,500, and U.S. House candidates will need 500 signatures instead of 200. This week, the Assembly already passed AB 5117, actually last week technically, by a vote of 46 to 27. The Senate version has made it through committee. Proponents argue these increases ensure only serious candidates make it onto the ballot. But let's be real. This isn't about seriousness. It's about creating hurdles. Let me ask you, are there scores of people lining up to run for office in New Jersey? Hardly. Ballots are not overcrowded with choices. Instead of raising barriers, why not have a serious discussion about how to encourage more people to run for office? Politics isn't supposed to be an exclusive club. The more voices we have, the more diverse and representative our democracy becomes. But by raising these petition requirements, New Jersey risks making the process more inaccessible, especially for grassroots candidates who may not have the resources or networks to gather thousands of signatures. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a roadblock. It tells potential candidates you're not welcome here unless you can navigate our increasingly bureaucratic gauntlet. If we want a healthier democracy, the goal should be to lower barriers, not raise them. Instead of tightening the screws, let's think about reforms that invite participation. Why not reduce filing fees or streamline the petition process with digital options? New Jersey doesn't need fewer candidates. It needs more ideas, more voices, and more competition. Let's make running for office accessible, not a Herculean task. Make no mistake, the only people that are going to benefit from this law, if it's passed, are the insiders who are already there. They're trying to rig the game into making this an incumbent protection racket in both parties.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom, The Dark Ages. Available now on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC.
Rated M for mature.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WNBC.
Local Spotlight.
Sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction. Take the story of retired NYPD Detective John Scotto. There was a story about this in the New York Post over the weekend, who, while having his morning cigarette on December 14th, spotted something extraordinary. A large rectangular drone hovering above the trees near his Rossville home. This is right by where my mom lives and where I grew up. This wasn't just any drone. Scotto described it as 7 feet long, with flashing white, red, and green lights moving at a slow and deliberate pace of about 20 miles per hour. As he watched, it dropped a glowing object that disappeared into the woods. Moments later, the drone hovered above his home, clearing his roof by just 20 feet before vanishing into the distance. Scotto, with his years of police experience, was convinced this wasn't a toy. It was something far more sophisticated. He called 911, and soon after, NYPD helicopters were circling the area, conducting flybys over the woods. Despite their efforts, no trace of the mysterious object dropped was found again. This incident adds to the growing list of unexplained drone sightings in New York and New Jersey. Federal officials have been quick to dismiss these sightings, claiming they're often misidentified helicopters or small planes. But let's be honest, does that explanation hold water? Scotto doesn't think so, and frankly, neither do I. This man is a credible witness with a trained eye for detail. When he says what he saw was a drone and not a Cessna, I'm inclined to believe him. The federal government's dismissive attitude isn't just unconvincing, it's troubling. If these drones are benign, why implement temporary FAA restrictions over 51 cities in the region? And if they're part of some larger operation, why not offer a straightforward explanation? It's tempting to let this mystery fade away now that the sightings seem to have stopped, but that would be a mistake. The absence of answers doesn't mean we should stop asking questions. Arthur Erickson, a drone manufacturing CEO, suggests this could be a federal test, perhaps a simulation of how an adversary might use drones. If that's true, fine. But why the secrecy? Transparency builds trust, and right now we've got none. We're left with more questions than answers. What was that glowing object? Why was it dropped in a Staten Island neighborhood? And why are officials so reluctant to acknowledge what people are seeing with their own eyes? The drones may have gone silent, but our demand for the truth should absolutely not.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii in sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Let me tell you something. There's no place like New York City, and there's certainly no smell like the New York City subway. For better or worse, that unmistakable aroma has been an iconic part of the Big Apple experience. But now, it seems the MTA wants to change that. They've rolled out a pilot program installing scent diffusers in 2 subway stations, Grand Avenue, Newtown, in Elmhurst, and Rockaway Avenue in Bed-Stuy. The idea is to mask the, shall we say, natural bouquet of our subway stations with something a little more pleasant. The reviews so far are mixed. Some strap hangers are loving the fresh floral vibes. Others are scratching their heads, wondering why anyone would encourage them to take a deep breath in a place that still smells faintly of rats and old garbage underneath it all. Now, let me be clear. Anything that improves the quality of life for subway riders is a good thing, in my book. Whether it's sprucing up the paint, getting help for the homeless, or yes, adding a bit of aromatherapy to your morning commute, I say go for it. If it encourages more people to take the subway, that's even better, because a full subway is a cleaner, greener city. But I have to admit, I'm a little torn. There's a certain nostalgia attached to that gritty subway smell. It's not pleasant, but it's familiar, like an old friend who never showered. For those of us who grew up here, the scent of stale air, grease, and, well, let's not dwell on the rest, it's part of the city's DNA. That said, nostalgia for trash and urine only goes so far. Let's face it, if we're really honest, masking the smell of the subway with something fresher is a step in the right direction. And hey, maybe it'll distract us from the fare hikes and delays that we're having to deal with all the time. The one thing I will say is this: if the MTA is spending over $2,000 per diffuser, we'd better see these things actually making a difference. Riders shouldn't have to choose between a subway that smells nice and one that runs on time. Priorities, people. So here's to a fresh start for our subway stations, but I'll miss the old gritty aroma just a little. After all, you can't bottle up that kind of authenticity. I'd be curious to know if anyone has visited either of these 2 train stations and experienced the new pleasant smell. If you have, email me, frank.morano@wabcradio.com. That's frank.morano @redappleaudionetworks.com as well. Either one gets to me. I don't take either of these 2 subway stops, but I would love a field report from someone who has been on one of these trains. And we'll see. Who knows? Maybe this will be universal going forward.
Beam me up!
To be continued.